I knew something was wrong the moment I walked into the ballroom. My sister Vanessa's engagement party was being held at the Riverside Hotel, a venue that cost minimum $15,000 to book. The room sparkled with crystal chandeliers and white roses, hundreds of them, probably $3,000 worth of flowers alone. Vanessa had been engaged for 6 weeks. She didn't have a job. Her fiancé, Derek, worked in sales at a car dealership and drove a leased BMW he couldn't actually afford. But somehow they were throwing a party that looked like it cost $40,000. I signed the guest book and scanned the room. 40 people, maybe more. I recognized my parents' friends, Vanessa's college roommates, Derek's family. The bar was open, the appetizers were endless, and a string quartet played in the corner. My mother spotted me immediately. "Natalie." She rushed over, her smile too bright, too eager. "You look lovely. Come, Vanessa wants to see you." She linked her arm through mine with a grip that felt more like a capture than affection, steering me toward the front of the room where Vanessa stood in a white cocktail dress that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. "Nat." Vanessa squealed, throwing her arms around me. "I'm so glad you're here." "Congratulations," I said, hugging her back. "The party is beautiful. Isn't it?" She beamed. "Mom and Dad really outdid themselves." That's when the first stone of dread settled in my stomach. My father appeared with champagne glasses, handing them to me and Vanessa. "A toast," he said loudly, and the room began to quiet. The string quartet stopped playing. "Everyone," my father's voice boomed across the ballroom. "If I could have your attention." 40 people turned to face us. I stood there holding champagne I hadn't asked for, next to a sister who was glowing with happiness, and felt the trap closing around me. "Tonight we celebrate Vanessa and Derek's engagement," my father continued. "But we also want to celebrate family. The bonds that hold us together. The sacrifices we make for each other." My mother stepped beside him, her hand on Vanessa's shoulder. "As many of you know," my mother said, "our daughter Natalie recently received a promotion at TechCorp. She's now the Senior Director of Operations." Polite applause rippled through the room. I forced a smile. "With that promotion came a substantial bonus," my father said. "And company shares. Natalie has worked very hard and we're incredibly proud of her." I felt my jaw tighten. Where was this going? "Which is why," my mother continued, her voice dripping with manufactured warmth, "we're so touched that Natalie has decided to transfer her company shares to Vanessa and Derek, to help them start their new life together." The room erupted in applause. I stood frozen, the champagne glass trembling in my hand. "Isn't that wonderful?" My mother beamed at me. Such a generous sister. 40 pairs of eyes were on me. Smiling. Approving. Celebrating a decision I had never made. "Nat, thank you so much," Vanessa gushed, her eyes actually welling with tears. "This means everything to us." Derek pumped my hand enthusiastically. "You're the best, Natalie. Seriously. This is going to change our lives." My father raised his glass. "To family." "To family," the room echoed. I didn't drink. "Actually," I said quietly, "I never agreed to this." The smile on my mother's face didn't waver, but her eyes went sharp. "Sweetheart, don't be modest. We talked about this." "No," I said louder now. "We didn't. You never asked me. I never agreed to anything." The room had gone quiet again, but this time the silence felt different. Uncomfortable. My father stepped closer to me, his voice low. "Natalie, don't do this here." "Don't do what?" "Tell the truth? That you just announced I was giving away my company shares without ever discussing it with me." "You have plenty," my mother hissed. "You make 6 figures. You have your salary, your bonus." "My shares are worth $230,000. I said, and I watched several people in the room actually gasp. "They vest over 4 years. They're part of my compensation package. They're not some extra windfall you can redistribute." Vanessa's face had started to crumble. "Nat, please. We need this. Derek and I want to buy a house." "Then Derek should get a better job. Or you should get any job." "How dare you?" My father's voice cut through the room like a blade. "After everything we've done for you. After we paid for your education, gave you every opportunity. You paid for 2 years of community college before I transferred to state school," I said, my voice shaking but clear. "I took out loans for the rest. $48,000 in loans that I paid off myself, Working 2 jobs while finishing my degree. You didn't give me opportunities, Dad. I made them. We raised you, my mother said, her voice rising. We fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head. That's called being a parent. It's not an investment you get to cash in on 20 years later. My father's face had gone red. You are ungrateful. Selfish. We are your family and you're standing here in front of everyone embarrassing us. You embarrassed yourselves when you announced you were taking my assets without my permission. Those shares should go to your sister, my father roared. The room was dead silent now. Even the bartender had stopped moving. Why? I asked simply. Because she needs them more? Because she made bad choices and now needs me to fix them? Because you've spent your entire lives giving her everything while I got nothing, and now you expect me to continue that pattern. Natalie, Vanessa started crying. No, I said, looking at her directly. I love you, Vanessa. But I'm not doing this. I worked 70-hour weeks for the past 3 years to earn that promotion. I gave up vacations, relationships, sleep. Those shares are mine. I earned them. My mother grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. If you don't do this, you are no longer welcome in this family. I looked at her hand on my arm, then at her face. Then I guess I'm not welcome. I pulled my arm free, set down the champagne glass and walked toward the exit. Behind me, my father's voice boomed. If you walk out that door, Natalie, you are done. Do you hear me? Done. I kept walking. Ungrateful, he shouted. After everything we've... I pushed through the ballroom doors and stepped into the hotel lobby. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get my phone out of my purse. I scrolled through my contacts and pressed call. He answered on the second ring. Natalie? Everything okay? Richard, I said, my voice tight. I need you. Are you nearby? Richard Chin, CEO of Tech Corp, was quiet for a moment. I'm actually at dinner about 20 minutes away. What's going on? My parents just announced to 40 people that I'm transferring my company shares to my sister. Without asking me. Without my consent. I refused and it got ugly. Jesus Christ. Where are you? Riverside Hotel. My sister's engagement party. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Richard, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Stay put. He hung up. I sat down on a lobby couch trying to steady my breathing. A hotel employee approached and asked if I was all right. I nodded, not trusting my voice. My phone started buzzing. My mother. I declined the call. It rang again immediately. My father. Declined. Then Vanessa, then Derek, then my aunt who I'd seen in the ballroom. I turned off my phone. 28 minutes later, Richard Chin walked through the hotel entrance in a navy suit. His silver hair perfectly combed, his expression dark. Where are they? He asked. Still in the ballroom, I assume. Take me there. Richard, you really don't need to. Natalie, you are the best director I've hired in 10 years. You've increased operational efficiency by 32%. You've saved this company millions. And someone just tried to publicly coerce you into giving away part of your compensation package. His eyes were hard. So yes, I really do need to. We walked back to the ballroom together. When we pushed through the doors, the party was still going, but the energy had changed. People were clustered in small groups, whispering. The string quartet was playing again, but it felt forced. My parents were standing near the bar with Vanessa and Derek. My mother saw me first, and her face went from shock to fury to something like fear when she saw Richard behind me. My father turned. Natalie, if you came back to apologize. I'm Richard Chin, Richard said, stepping forward and extending his hand. CEO of Tech Corp. My father automatically shook it, confused. Robert Matthews. This is my wife, Linda. Pleasure, Richard said, though his tone suggested it was anything but. I understand there's been some confusion about Natalie's compensation package. My mother's eyes widened slightly. This is a family matter. It became a corporate matter when you publicly announced that my employee would be transferring company shares, Richard said smoothly. Shares that are part of a legally binding employment contract. Shares that cannot be transferred without violating multiple securities regulations and contract clauses. My father's face had started to lose color. We didn't mean. You announced to 40 people that Natalie agreed to transfer $230,000 in company stock to her sister, Richard continued. Stock that is still vesting. Stock that has restrictions on transfer. Did you consult with a securities attorney before making this announcement? Silence. I'll take that as a no, Richard said. So let me be clear. Those shares belong to Natalie. They are hers by contract, by law, and by merit. Any attempt to pressure her, coerce her, or otherwise force her to transfer them would be considered harassment and potentially fraud. Vanessa had started crying again. Derek looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Furthermore, Richard said, pulling out his phone, I'm going to send an email right now to our legal department and our HR department documenting this incident. Natalie, I want you to forward me any communications from your family regarding these shares. Any texts, emails, calls. Everything. You can't do that, my mother said weakly. I absolutely can. Natalie is a valued employee and I protect my employees. He looked at my father. Mr. Matthews, I'm going to give you some free advice. Your daughter earned those shares by being exceptional at her job. She earned her promotion by working harder than anyone else in her department. She got where she is through talent, dedication, and skill. Not through family connections. Not through handouts. Through merit. He paused. The fact that you think you're entitled to the fruits of her labor tells me everything I need to know about why she's so good at what she does. She learned early that she couldn't rely on anyone but herself. The ballroom had gone completely silent. 40 people were watching my CO dress down my parents at my sister's engagement party. Natalie, Richard said, turning to me. We're leaving. I'm driving you home. Okay, I said quietly. As we turned to go, my father found his voice. This isn't over. Richard stopped. Turn back. Yes, Mr. Matthews. It is. If you contact Natalie about this again, you'll be hearing from our attorneys. Have a good evening. We walked out together. In Richard's car, I finally let myself break down. I'm sorry, I said, wiping tears from my face. I'm so sorry you had to see that. Don't apologize, Richard said firmly. Not for this. Never for this. He was quiet for a moment as he navigated through traffic. How long has this been going on? My whole life, basically. Vanessa was always the favorite. The one who needed help, needed support, needed money. I was the responsible one. The one who had to figure it out on her own. And now that you've succeeded, they think they own that success. Apparently. We drove in silence for a few minutes. Natalie, Richard said finally, I meant what I said back there. You're exceptional at what you do. Those shares. You earned every single one of them. And if your family can't see that, that's their loss. Thank you, I whispered. And if they contact you again, you tell me immediately. I don't care if it's midnight on a Sunday. You call me. I will. He pulled up in front of my apartment building. Take tomorrow off. Monday too if you need it. I'm fine really. It's not a request, it's an order. Rest. Pros. And then come back when you're ready. I got out of the car and then turned back. Richard, thank you. For coming. For saying what you said. That's what good leaders do, he said. They protect their people. I didn't take Monday off. I went into work and threw myself into a project proposal I'd been developing. My phone stayed off. I didn't check my personal email. On Tuesday, an envelope arrived at my apartment. Inside was a formal letter from TechCorp's legal department, documenting the incident at the engagement party and confirming that my shares were protected under multiple contractual and legal provisions. A copy had been sent to my parents' home address. There was a handwritten note from Richard. Just making sure everyone understands the rules. You're part of this company and this company protects its own. RC. I put the letter in a folder with all my other employment documents. Then I sat down and wrote an email to my parents. The shares are mine. They will remain mine. If you contact me about this again, TechCorp's legal team will become involved. If you want a relationship with me going forward, it will be on terms of mutual respect, not financial exploitation. The choice is yours. I didn't hear from them for 3 weeks. When my mother finally called, I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Natalie. Her voice was different. Smaller. Can we talk? About what? About everything. About what happened at the party. Are you calling to apologize or to ask for money again? Silence. I thought so, I said. Your father and I are having financial trouble, she admitted quietly. We're behind on the mortgage. We thought maybe you could help. Help or give Vanessa my shares so she could help you? More silence. Mom, I'll help you, I said finally. But not like this. Not by handing over my assets. If you need financial counseling, I'll pay for that. If you need to downsize, I'll help you move. But I'm not giving you money so you can continue living beyond your means while treating me like an ATM. That's not what we... Yes, it is. It's exactly what you were doing. And it stops now. I heard her crying softly on the other end of the line. I love you, Mom, I said. But I love myself too. And I'm not going to set myself on fire to keep everyone else warm anymore. I understand, she whispered. Good. Call me when you're ready to have an honest conversation about this. Not before. I hung up. That night I got an email from Richard. Board meeting next week. Bringing up your proposal for the new operational framework. This could mean another promotion. You interested? I smiled and typed back. Absolutely. My shares were mine. My success was mine. My future was mine. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't sharing it with people who didn't value it. I was finally free.